everyone, welcome back to the Derek Bach Center's Learning Lab. Once again, my name is Madeleine Woods, and today I will be guiding you through a very quick introduction to GPTs and how to create them within ChatGPT EDU. So in the last video, we went over the interface, and I mentioned that you could see GPTs within the left-hand sidebar. So what are GPTs? Taken directly from OpenAI's website, GPTs are custom versions of ChatGPT that users can tailor for specific tasks or topics by combining instructions, knowledge, and capabilities. We'll get into what those categories mean in a moment, but they can be as simple or as complex as needed, addressing anything from language learning to technical support. So we'll go through how to make them, how to access them, and it'll give you a better idea of their various use cases. Now, if you've never interacted with GPTs before, when you go to the left-hand sidebar, the way you can find new GPTs is by clicking this button here. If you click through, you'll find yourself within the Harvard Workspace-specific GPT area. Now, keep in mind that the Harvard Workspace has very intense data protection. As a result, you'll only be able to access GPTs made by those within the Harvard Workspace, as well as GPTs made by the ChatGPT team. If you'd like to explore the GPTs you have available, you can search with this bar, or you can see what is very popular within the Harvard Workspace through this leaderboard. If you'd like to create your own GPT, however, you come up here next to the Harvard Shield and hit the plus create button. When you hit the plus create button, you will be brought to the interface where you can create your GPT. And you'll see that this is made up again of two main areas. Here on the right, we have our preview window. This is where you can interact with your GPT as you're making it in order to refine the different structure you've given. When it comes to that structure, the actual design of your GPT, you can access that through this left-hand panel. Now, there are two tabs within this left-hand panel. First, the Configure tab. This is where you can access the creation of your GPT through a form. If, however, you've never created a GPT before, it may be easier to create a GPT in conversation. So you can speak with a GPT building instance of ChatGPT to help you fill out the form we just saw in the Configure tab. So for instance, I would like to make a GPT to assist me with Old English translations. This can be extraordinarily simple to begin with. As always, when interacting with ChatGPT, you can hit this arrow or enter, and the conversation will begin. You'll see this updating GPT symbol appear on your screen. And essentially what's happening is this instance of ChatGPT within the Create tab is taking this query and filling out the beginnings of that configure form. So here we've been provided with an example name for our GPT. I'm quite amused by this, so I'll say this name is Great. And again, we'll be returned to that updating GPT symbol and a response, and a profile picture will be generated. You'll see, though, that on the right hand of the screen, we've seen some changes. So we've seen our name has come up, a description, an image, as well as questions that we could seemingly ask this GPT. So now let's come over to the Configure tab, and we'll see that this form has miraculously been filmed through our very short conversation. So again, here is where there are images for your GPTs. You can either generate it with Dolly, as this image was, or upload your own photo. You can set a name, and you can set a description. It's important to note that these three elements do not impact the behavior of your GPT at all. They're simply used for organization, so you or users of your GPT can understand at a glance the functionality of whatever this GPT does and is. Now, when it comes to actually impacting how this GPT operates, there are two important sections, the most important being instructions. So I can view it here, or if I'd like to make it bigger, I can hit this expand arrow in the corner and see the instructions. This is the basic prompt for my GPT, and this is where you will spend the most time in terms of iterating and improving the performance of your GPT. You can simply close it and get back to the form. Now, conversation starters have a twofold use. You can use them as fire keys or quick keys if it's a tool you're using yourself to perform the functions you do most often or ask questions you're frequently querying your GPT with. So, for instance, what does what mean? I'm not sure I'd frequently be asking that question, but I could change it to one that's something I more frequently ask, or potentially saying, what does the following word mean? I can hit that, a conversation can begin, and then all I have to manually type is that word. So for instance, this conversation starter as an example, I can come to the preview, hit what does what mean, and a response begins. So again, I'm going to look to see how strong this output is, and then I can go back into the instructions and change what I don't like. Now, the second most important element for improving the output of your GPT is the knowledge base. So in this knowledge area, you can upload various file types that the GPT can use for context every time it tries to answer a question. And again, we'll have more resources that go more in depth into how this process actually works and some tips and tricks for making it work well. There's also a list of capabilities such as web search, so I would probably want my translator to be able to search the internet, Canvas. This is a modality through which you can interact with ChatGPT beyond just a chat window, but it will actually open an auxiliary document where you can edit text or code, anything of that sort that you want to keep static while also having a chat to the side. And then DALL-E image generation. I probably don't want any images generated while I'm speaking with my bot, so I'll turn that off. And then last, we have code interpreter and data analysis, which is very important if you're doing anything with numbers of any sort. So if you want to work with CSV files, if you want to work with R or more advanced coding languages, you will want to turn this on. Last are actions, which are ways that you can programmatically tie this GPT to third parties or really structure its output. However, that is used very infrequently, especially within the Harvard workspace, as there are many data protections that limit the functions most often used for actions. Now, if you've created your GPT and you're pleased, you can come up here and hit Create. And this is where you can share your GPT. It's much like a Google Doc. You can add people just based on their emails, or you can share it with a link, so anyone within the workspace who has the link can open it, or you can make it public through this option, Harvard University ChatGPT, and then anyone will be able to search for it, and it may even appear on that leaderboard if everyone is wanting to use it. So once you've selected your option, I'll keep this to invite only, hit Update, and your GPT will be created. Now, this isn't a one-shot process. You can here click View GPT, and you'll be able to see it in the wild in your ChatGPT edu interface. It will also be added to this list of GPTs you've interacted with. But at any point, if you don't like how your GPT is operating, you can come up here to the top left corner of your main window, hit the drop-down, hit Edit GPT, and once again, you'll be brought back to that interface. So once again, this has been a very quick introduction to GPTs, and we'll have more resources that go into more detail. However, thank you so much for sticking with us and watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.